country has ever prospered that failed to put its own interests first. We will no longer surrender this country or its people to the false song of globalism.
New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Welcome to the weekly wrap-up where two guys sit around a camera trying to figure out what just happened. My name's Bob Dunlap.
And I'm Eric Matheny. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving. How you feeling today?
Good, good. I definitely had to take a nap yesterday after eating all that turkey. That stuff really does make you tired.
Man, I had a great dinner, and I had my very liberal sister visiting, and she said the most California thing I've ever heard unintentionally. I'm sitting at the table, and I go assume the head of the table, and I jokingly, like a smartass, just say to her, "Hey, in Los Angeles, do the men sit at the head of the table?" Without missing a beat and 100% serious, she goes, "I don't know any straight families."
Is she straight?
Yeah, she is. She's straight, but yeah, I guess all the people she hangs out with, she lives in a very hip neighborhood in LA, and everybody she knows is gay, trans, pans, this made up sexuality, whatever they want to do today, they are. So the straight families were the exception to the rule. But great Thanksgiving, great for us, but even better for the troops in Afghanistan. What did you think of that?
I love the mainstream media. Trump spends all day golfing and tweeting. Oh, oops, missed that. I don't know how he got out of Mar-a-Lago, though, without being noticed. That was awesome.
Well, I've heard some different stories about how he got out. One of the things I heard is there was a decoy motorcade that went out. But the funniest thing was he puts out this tweet, obviously a photoshopped image of his face on Sylvester Stallone's body as Rocky. That's all he puts out. The mainstream media loses their mind. What's this? What is he doing? That's clearly false. The Washington Post wrote like a serious article about this. Why did Trump do it? And hours later, he's arriving in Afghanistan, after which people were tweeting photos of Barack Obama serving at a soup kitchen where this is what a president does. No, this is what a president does. He doesn't golf. He doesn't sit around. He's out there with the troops. And I guarantee he would rather spend his Thanksgiving with men and women in uniform in Afghanistan than anybody in Washington, D.C. So good for him.
Yeah, and how about the protesters in Hong Kong holding up the picture of him?
That was incredible. So they got these protests. They've been having them for months now in Hong Kong, obviously fighting against oppression and tyrannical rule. They want to be a democratic society. They want to have their own voice. And they're out there protesting, getting the absolute crap kicked out of them by these police. And they're up there holding the photo of Donald Trump, the one of him as Rocky. They love him so much over there. I wish he had a iota of that respect here by House Democrats and 50% of the country.
There's another thing I saw that about made me cry was they put a bunch of arrested protesters on a train to China, and they're all dead. For sure, China's going to kill them.
Well, look, there's no human rights there at all. And what they're doing, they're trying to speak their truth, and they're trying to institute some kind of democratic reform. And I think it's incumbent upon us to support them and respect that, because we want to see democracy spread around the world. We want to see Western values. I think we have the best way of life, and I'd like to see that also in China.
I just want to stop invading countries and shoving it down their throat, though,
No, I want to do away with perpetual war, and I don't think we're anywhere near that with China. But they're doing the right thing over there. But the bottom line is they respect our president. I think he gets a lot of respect overseas, and that's one of the things he comments on a lot. Is he talks about how much respect he gets when he travels and what people say about him abroad, and they love him. They see what's happening, and we see that populism growing. I mean, look at Europe. Look at the way elections have been going in Europe, and they have it arguably much worse than we do because they've opened their borders to this mass immigration, which we're seeing problems with it. Stabbing on Friday on London Bridge. Right. They shot the guy. And then just after that, there's a stabbing at The Hague in the Netherlands.
Right. Hey, maybe we should take all the Hong Kong people and swap them out with Democrats in America, because they love America more than Democrats do.
Yeah, absolutely. The Democrats here hate America and the Hong Kong protesters love it. I would much rather have those people here.
Yeah.
I would swap out Adam Schiff for 10,000, 50,000 Hong Kong protesters to come here and just absolutely kick ass and be great citizens.
Yeah. What else is shaking?
Well, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened in London. So they have a stabbing on the bridge, and then immediately happens at The Hague right afterwards. What we're seeing, these are the effects of mass migration without vetting people, without having people come through on a merit-based system. They're coming here for no other reason than people like Angela Merkel and Sadiq Khan, and these absolute radical liberals who open their borders and essentially destroy their countries from within. You cannot successfully integrate that many people in that short a period of time. And the fact remains is that they're not coming. They're not like early 20th century American immigration that we saw here, where people came and they assimilated and they had skills. In Germany, look what in 2015, they opened the border, let 1.5 million people in. It's happening in Spain. It's happening in Italy. It's happening in England. And this is the net effect of that. You have stabbings, acid attacks, these things you don't normally see. They're up tremendously. And as Khan said years ago, it's part and parcel of living in a big city.
This was all planned, too, and with Soros' money. I hate eyeball sack Soros so much. Oh, if we just arrested him for treason and took all his money, so many problems would go away. But they planned this to ruin Europe, and I really don't know why.
You know, you want to talk about collusion with a foreign body. Why aren't they looking into George Soros? Why aren't they looking into the money that he pours? He doesn't just pour money into presidential elections and state level elections. He pours money into local elections. He pours money into city councils. The DA, these really radical district attorneys that you've seen elected in San Francisco and in Philadelphia, where essentially they're decriminalizing theft and vandalism and things like that. These are these radical candidates they're putting in with Soros-backed money. You got to follow the money. You got to trace it back. And this is where the real collusion is. Anybody here who's getting money from him overseas is colluding with a foreign power to influence an election here at home.
For the life of me, I don't know why he's not arrested. And he's been thrown out of, I think, 3 countries. Hungary, where he's from. He's a known Nazi, too. He said it himself.
I think that the swamp is deep and it runs deep across the board. And I think that's one of the things that the death of Jeffrey Epstein is reflecting, is just how dirty our system is. And it's not just a political system, it's a power structure. It's Hollywood, it's media, it's business, it's politics. It's this strange bedfellows of power, of central banking, of money, these networks. Jeffrey Epstein made his money blackmailing people. There's a lot of evidence that he had videotapes and he had very damaging evidence of these people that would go down to his island and engage in criminal activity with children. And he would hold that over their heads. And that's the way things are done. I think when you really look at the swamp, it's not as much a system of favors. It's more, I've got dirt on you, so you do what I say. It's a system of blackmailing.
Well, maybe that's why Trump's been so successful. He can't be blackmailed. He's never done anything wrong. And the Mueller bunch saw all his tax returns, so there can't be a problem. He's like the cleanest human being on earth ever. They've been going through all this stuff for the last 40 years and can't find anything on him. So,
well, look, if with the tax returns, I mean, if there was a problem with his tax returns, don't you think there would have been something a long time ago? He files tax returns. It's not like he's not filing. And when you're in his position and you're buying and selling these properties and you get to take the depreciation and you get to take these losses, the losses get to carry over. Those are our tax laws, and he's a smart businessman and he's going to use the tax laws to his advantage. I am nowhere even in the ballpark of Donald Trump, but I have a business and I take advantage of every single break, every deduction, every loophole I can. Why wouldn't I? Do I want to pay the government more than I have to? I pay them the absolute bare minimum that I have to by law, and I'm not giving them another damn dime.
What do you mean? You can actually donate to the IRS. Did you know that?
You can. Look, if you believe in taxing the rich, go ahead. Go ahead. You can write a check to the IRS, and believe me, they will cash it, and they cash it quickly. But Trump with the tax returns, if there was something wrong there, something criminal, believe me, he's Donald Trump. His tax return, no wonder he gets audited every year. He gets audited every year, and it is what it is. But he's never had any criminal tax problems. I don't expect anything to change now. Look, he's going to be under investigation after investigation. Once this impeachment peters out, here's the thing. Let me backtrack for a minute. The election is in November 2020, and the way that the Democrats timed this impeachment was poor, because it's going to be done by January or February. Even if it goes to Senate trial, it's going to be done. So then what do they do from February to November? We've got short-term memories here in the United States. It would be better for them if they were trying to stage this hoax maybe next July, but we're going to have 10 months of nothing. What is the next thing they're going to do? I've been trying to figure it out. I've been posting about it. I've been thinking, I've been talking to people. What is the next thing Democrats are going to do after impeachment?
The media is all going to get together and say, the next recession is here. The sky is falling. And then the unemployment numbers will come out better than the month prior. And they're going to be like,
well, that's what people are saying. People are saying that it's going to be, they're going to pivot back to the economy is bound to fail. We're all the indicators are here. A recession is around the corner. We're going to tank. They tried doing that a couple of months ago.
Right.
Kind of between Mueller and impeachment, they played with racism. That lasted like a week. They played with recession. That lasted like another week. And then we get into like July or August, and now Ukraine's starting to kick up. So that's going to be done. They've showed us their hand. They have nothing. They've really lost steam. I mean, the excitement's not there. I mean, even on CNN and MSNBC, they're not really talking about it anymore. It's like, I think, and someone said it, I can't remember who said it, I want to give credit. Someone said it's just boring. It's not salacious. It's not exciting. And even the people that want to see him impeached, on the evidence presented, it's just not keeping their interest.
Well, there is no evidence that he did anything wrong. They're just picking and choosing different people. It's hearsay, and people got to see that finally, and they're all like, what? I think this has actually helped Trump. Personally. Well,
it was a perfect phone call. I think he did nothing wrong. We've talked about it on this show before. He never conditioned aid on assistance with looking into the Bidens. He didn't ask for that assistance for political purposes. And here's what I don't understand. From 2016 to 2019, all the Democrats were talking about was the integrity of our elections has been jeopardized. And when Trump called Zelensky in July of this year, he wanted to look into how American elections were jeopardized by foreign influence. And now he's being impeached for taking the efforts in doing that.
You know what really blew up in their face was they never saw it coming either. He released the phone call, the actual, what he said, and none of them thought he was going to do that, and it just blew it up. Schiff, when he read that fake phone call, he was planning on saying, yeah, that's really how the phone call went. So Trump killed him with doing that, so kudos to Trump for that.
They really thought he wasn't going to release the phone call? They really thought he wasn't going to do it?
Yeah, because no president really ever has. They thought they were going to be like, this is above. Bush wouldn't have done it. No way Bush would have released that phone call.
Well, I think that's one of many reasons why the quote-unquote whistleblower, if he actually exists, needs to be subpoenaed, because I think what happened is the whistleblower must have fed false information to Schiff, and Schiff relied on that when he made his statement in Congress, which he hasn't been censured for. He gave false test. I mean, look, he's not a testifying witness, but he made false statements in Congress to a committee.
I don't even know if the whistleblower gave Schiff the information. It was more like, okay, here's what you're going to say. Here, we're going to write down what you're going to say. They're all colluding together. It's the deep state is very deep.
It runs very deep, and it runs on both sides. And I think that's why there was such a concerted effort to make sure that this guy never got into the White House. I think that's why you had Page and Strzok, and they're getting orders from above. And I think when the IG report comes out, the IG report coming out very soon, by the way, I think when that IG report comes out, man, we're going to learn some things that are going to be really eye-opening about our government. And one thing that I've learned in the last 3 years that I didn't realize before, I never realized how corrupt our system was. I knew there was corruption there, but you don't think about it as pervasive and systemic as we've seen.
It's disgusting what they did to the middle class in manufacturing. They don't give a crap about America. If you go up to upstate New York, Syracuse, Rochester, the Midwest, they've destroyed America. And you know what? They don't care. They don't care.
No, they'll sell out the middle class. And the problem is, as you have about 45% of these young voters who want to see socialism implemented, one of the hallmarks of socialism is the complete absence of a middle class. The middle class is dead. You have a working class, and you have a couple people at the top who know the right people.
You mean like California?
Venezuela. Look at there's a famous picture in Venezuela of the Caracas Country Club of these people eating at this beautiful restaurant on top of a hill overlooking a golf course. And then beyond the golf course are the slums of Caracas, where they effectively have cities living in these abandoned apartment buildings and people eating out of garbage cans. That's socialism. You have a few at the top and everybody else equally poor.
You mean like California?
California is going that way, man. My sister, she came here. She lives in California where I grew up. I lived there till I was 18 years old. And I mean, she's liberal, but she does, complain like, I live between two homeless encampments. I mean, she pays whatever she pays for a little tiny apartment. And on one side is a freeway where there's a homeless encampment living under the overpass. And on the other side is another homeless encampment.
That's got to be pretty dangerous. I hope she can pull into like a covered parking or something.
It's a gated complex, but she said, they come and, if you're doing the laundry and you don't lock the laundry room, you'll go down there in the morning. There'll be a homeless guy sleeping in the laundry room. They're everywhere. And there's something like 60,000 of them now. It's out of control. How did they ever let it get this bad?
It's because they care.
No, I think
that's all Democrats are. We care.
Yeah, but I think you have these old hippies that are running the state now, and they're like, "Hey, let everyone come here. Anything goes. Let's not judge these people. They're sick." Look, the way we do it in Florida is the right way, and I think the rest of the nation needs to follow. You invest money into shelters and programs, and you offer these people the alternative. You cannot sleep on the sidewalk. You can't. Do you want to go to a shelter? Yes, let's go. You don't, you go to jail. You're trespassing. That's just how it is. We can't destroy the quality of life for the people that are paying for it, the people that are paying property taxes, the people that are supporting the system, and then bring down our property values. I mean, economically, at the least, it doesn't make any sense. You're destroying communities. You're destroying a tax base. People are leaving.
They do this because they're caring, like in San Francisco. Let's now make shooting heroin not illegal or pooping on the sidewalk not illegal. And it's because we care. And they've ruined San Francisco. That is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Ruined.
It's the broken window theory. It's when you allow things like these little quality of life crimes to occur, everything starts to spiral from there. So if you leave a broken window in a neighborhood unfixed, it's going to bring down the quality of life in the neighborhood. Same thing for these laws against, we're not going to prosecute panhandling. Okay, that's one thing. Well, now we're not going to prosecute prostitution. We're not going to prosecute small amounts of drugs. We're not going to prosecute theft under $750. What about the store owners?
Right.
So they did that in Florida, actually. They just raised the threshold on grand theft. It used to be anything over $300 was a felony. Now it's anything over $750 is a felony. So you could go into Neiman Marcus, walk out with $500 worth of stuff, and the cop will write you a ticket. Wow. Whereas before, you get the cuff slapped on you, you go and you have to get booked and bond out.
Has that hurt your practice at all?
I mean, look, people are still going to hire me for a petty theft, but yeah, it hurts my practice in the sense that I can't charge, for a $600 theft what I used to. It's not a felony, but that's neither here nor there. It's a quality of life issue, right? Because theft is theft. Right. And granted, they're trying to adjust for inflation because, 30 years ago, $200 theft was a second degree felony, and now it's a misdemeanor. I think they're adjusting for that. But the reasons they're doing it in these other more progressive cities, far more progressive than South Florida, is because they don't want to hurt these people. They say, well, we don't want to give them a felony record or give them a criminal record at all. But you have to institute consequences. Hurting somebody, getting a criminal record is a consequence. It's a reason not to commit a crime because there's a consequence. I may get a criminal record, which could hurt me in getting a job.
Right. I'm with you, man. What else you got?
Well, I wanted to talk about this. This is a story that's, kind of poking its head up, but just goes to show what we're up against. So in Virginia, and mind you, Virginia's had a number of problems. They got the governor with the blackface issue. They have the live birth abortion where he said it will make the baby comfortable. It's effectively infanticide. So now they have a law that they're trying to pass. I don't believe it will pass, but this is just the logic that they're dealing with, that would ban martial arts, would ban firing ranges, anything that teaches or organizes any groups of people to commit acts of violence, which would entail, like both my kids are Taekwondo practitioners. They would not be allowed to practice Taekwondo anymore. And the instructor would be charged with a felony under the statute for teaching this martial art to others. Look, I practiced martial arts as a kid. I did it for years as an adult. It's great. It's great discipline. It's great exercise. Some of the kindest, gentlest people I know are devout martial artists. They're not going out and using their skills for bad reasons. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the logic behind that. I mean, what are they trying to? Are they trying to like wussify the culture, or are they concerned that are they targeting like Antifa groups? I don't think they are. I think they're targeting anybody who's learning a martial art. I don't understand why that bill would even be passed around.
Well, it's like the gun grab. If we make guns illegal, no one will have a gun. If we make martial arts illegal, no one will know martial arts. They're idiots.
No, I don't think that's going to pass. But look at these bills that they're trying to pass, and even if they don't have a chance, that's an acceptable school of thought in that state. The people of Virginia saw fit to put somebody in their state house who would come up with something like that, and not only depriving people the ability to learn something, get some exercise, and have a good time. The businesses you would shut down. You're shutting down gyms. You're shutting down these small karate studios, a lot of which are owned by immigrants. The ones I take my kids to, owned by a Korean immigrant family. I don't think they understand the unintended consequences. It was like on Black Friday, there's this big social justice, woke activism movement. Don't buy anything today. Don't buy anything because shipping containers coming across the oceans, the ships are polluting, and these are big manufacturers that are polluting. Black Friday helps wage earners. Aren't those the people that you stand for? People that earn small wages, people who need to work, people who make hourly wages. This helps them. This puts them to work. A lot of them in the retail sector are getting time and a half today.
Yeah.
Small businesses. Black Friday also driving down prices, deals for low-income families to go out and do their shopping. So I think that these white guilt liberals don't spend 1 minute thinking about the consequences of what they're trying to implement, just like they put forth these plans that can't be paid for, like Medicare for All or the Green New Deal, or Andrew Yang, who wants to give everyone $1,000 till the day they die.
Guys, just like they knew the consequences of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. A bunch of restaurants closed. Just want to ruin America, and I think the devil's what's going on.
That's why we look at what's going on in Hong Kong, and we're like, why can't they have that here? Why can't they support and respect the office of the president the way they do overseas?
I don't know. I personally really hate the left, and hate is not as strong as word as I'd like to use here on the podcast.
Well, here's what I learned. I learned something this Thanksgiving, and maybe not for the first time, but it confirmed what I suspected. So like many, I had Thanksgiving with liberals, and I learned that policy, logic-based arguments, even positive things that are going on, because my liberal sister is visiting, and she was talking about how she owes the IRS money because she's earning more money. But she failed to make the connection between the president and the policies he's implementing. The thing that they don't like is they don't like the man. They don't like him. And nothing he does is going to change that. Nothing we do is going to persuade them. That's just how it is. And underlying this impeachment, underlying every effort made to oust him, to discredit him, to undermine him, is simply a dislike.
I mean, we all disliked Obama, but we didn't put on pink hats and beat up old ladies. I mean, come on.
Well, on the other side of that coin, when you ask these people what they liked about Obama, 99% of the time they're going to say, "Oh, we liked him. They liked him. They liked the guy. They thought he was charismatic. They thought he had a magnetic personality. They thought that he was their person that they looked to, their torchbearer." And because liberalism, everything is viewed through the prism of how it makes you feel. It's not what's right, what's logical, what makes the most sense. It's how do you feel at this precise moment? Do you like the individual or do you not? Politics, policies notwithstanding, do you like them? And because liberals don't like Donald Trump as a human being, cancels out any good he would do, anything he does. I mean, someone jokingly said the other day, Donald Trump should come out in favor of impeachment because then Democrats will abandon it.
Yeah, they just don't like us. And it's really what they're fed, and they're brainwashed by the mainstream media. You've seen him interviewed in the streets. So what do you not like about Donald? Why should he be impeached? I don't know. They have no answer. They're just sheep.
Yeah, time and time again, it's embarrassing to watch almost, but funny at the same time. They can't articulate why they don't like him. And, look, next week, Congress is coming back from their vacation. Let's see what happens with his impeachment. Apparently, there's another day of testimony scheduled for the 4th. Mm-hmm. So that'll be Wednesday. So Wednesday night show, we'll get to talk about that.
Cool. Sweet.
Well, that brings me up to the end. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Bob, you had a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was great. I was safe. It was all good.
Me too, man. Ate a lot, had a lot of fun. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you Wednesday night.
God bless you, Trump 2020.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.